Can you see me?
Hi, I can see you.
Good.
Gosh, how are you today?
I'm recovering from exhaustion from the work of getting all the girls off to Miss USA.
Yes, well, I'm really excited. So, welcome, 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 everyone. We are back for another weekly interview. My name is Nic Blaize, and I am with Beauty Queens Galore, the resource page. I am the owner of Nic B Cosmetics, as well as Inspire Gravity Consulting, where we help prepare you not just for pageantry, but for life. Today, I'm going to be talking to the amazing, the one, the only, Angelo Frasier. Angelo's known in the industry as the fit body guy. He gets us ready, not just mentally, but physically. He's worked with the Miss USA organization, the Miss Universe organization, celebrities, and everyone in between. Angelo, welcome so much to our session today. I can't wait to interview you and to get more questions answered and to hear your insight into everything that comes with the body as well as pageantry. So let's get started. Uh-oh, it looks like Angelo is frozen a little bit. Let's see. Let's get him back in there. He dropped just for a minute, but we're going to get him back
See
on.
me?
Yes, you're back. We're back.
Good.
We're back. Technology can do that to us. So I just introduced you to everyone out there, and everyone is very excited to hear from you. So let's get right into it, Angelo. Let's, first tell me what made you decide to get into this industry of getting people ready, whether it's for life or just competition.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. First, I have to go back to my college days. My college girlfriend was a former Miss North Carolina from Zebulon and outside of Raleigh, the Raleigh area. And I hated it. I was a jock. I played football and stuff like that. Pageant was, other than the swimsuit, it just looked like a bunch of fabric to me. so, so I, I had to really, I got out of it for a while, but I still was in it. Then I got married, and to a wonderful lady that introduced me to, I was always in the Word of God, but she introduced me to the Word in a little bit more detail. And then she's not standing in right now, but she's still, I thank God for her. So I got back with my college girlfriend. So anyway, so that's, and it kind of led me to coming to this after my divorce. I started training. I was training all along and trained bodybuilders and all that stuff. And I never weight trained. People think I used to weight train, but I was big. I came down with thought, yeah, I was huge. People say, how could a body so unfit be fit? But that's why you got to be careful what you say about people and judging, because you don't know what's going on. But I had a severe hypothyroidism that was
Oh,
really, and it took my testosterone levels down to 200 something. This is personal, but I don't mind telling it. I
wow.
posted a picture of my body, and I don't lift weights, and I showed a picture of how I look on Instagram for the first time I ever did that, because I had a genetics that was going for me, but it wasn't from weight training. But I studied anatomy and got college degrees, 2 degrees in the field, and I taught anatomy at Augusta State University for 1 year. And the reason why I taught it is because they lost their accreditation that year, and they needed somebody to teach, and it was me. And and after that, I was in the gym and still teaching group fitness. I love that, but I don't like lifting weights because it's heavy. You know, yeah,
Yeah, I don't think so anyway.
yeah. I tell you to lift it, but I'm not gonna lift it. I got married and got a lawnmower and never used it. Gave it away when we moved out one house to the next. I said, I'm not gonna use it. I'll pay somebody. So so the pageant world got me because one young lady, if I got to find her name, her maiden name was Leanna Maynard. I'm sure she's married now, but I trained her, and she won all these swimsuit, and she was in the MAO system, and so she kept coming to me and winning these swimsuit and winning the preliminaries, getting to try to achieve the title of Miss Georgia. In fact, I think she tapped out as second runner-up or something before she stopped the pageant, but it
Wow.
opened the door where other girls wanted to look like that. So, and then I'm an artist with the body. I don't think like a normal trainer. I
Yeah.
think with the mind and then the body. And see, with the mind and the body, you can win. You can you can knock it out of the park. So my job is to get the mind right. And then I look at the body in an artistic way. I have some artwork here. Well, I had it here, but it's some artwork I drew for somebody. I draw the body and show me what you want. And I make sure I pinpoint, you want a bigger butt, we'll pop it up. It's too big, take it down. You need shoulders, we'll take it out. If not, we'll take it down, we'll take it up. Whatever you do, that I learned how to work the body that way. So that led me into more girls coming, more girls. And then my start started with in Charleston in a bigger way, because I lived in Augusta, Georgia, and I'm in Charleston. But my journey started in Augusta, but when I got big here was with RPM. Very grateful to Paula Miles and Ryan Miles and Miss Ann, that whole RPM Productions.
Yeah, yeah.
I trained a girl named Keela Childs, and her mom is Debbie. She was Miss Teen South Carolina 2011, and she went to, they had the pageant in Bahamas during that time. So I ended up, training Keela, and I changed her body so much. Paula and Ryan's jaw dropped. If you ever talk to them, they'll tell you about it. Say, what did you do, Keela? How did this happen? They didn't know about me. And I got her from being boxy to curvy. And there's an artwork.
That's
Save that question. Let me finish this, and then I'll that. And so Paula called me from the Bahamas. She said, whatever you did, can I meet with you? And I said, sure. So she said, she said, I want you to be a sponsor. And I went, I didn't know a sponsor. It means something for free. I said, well, I was just from, trying to rebound my life. And so with a friend of mine, I told her, and she said, yeah, you might want to look into it. And Paula said, I'll take you to steak. And I, like Eddie Murphy said, did you say steak? So
sure.
the meeting was on. And from that point, she asked me to be the sponsor for South Carolina. And on her way back home, she liked it. She thought about me meeting me. She said, well, would you do Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, Louisiana? And I went, wow. Okay. I said, yeah.
We're growing now.
Yeah. So and then went from there to, exploring all over the globe. I'm not just in the U.S. I'm down in the South Pacific of Guam.
Oh, wow.
And Great Britain and Thailand and Costa Rica. And I don't post a lot of them when they pay me, because they have sponsors, and some directors are, well, I won't say in the U.S. because I don't out nobody, but they'll ask me to work with their girls, and I do it quietly and don't post them.
Right.
Yeah.
Why? Like, just let's touch base on that a little bit. Why is it, do you think, that there is a difference with, young ladies, where you'll post publicly, certain sponsors or certain pageant partners, as I like to call them, and then, but privately, you're working with someone else, and that person is probably the person that got you where you, got either your mind where it needed to be, your style, your technique, your body. What's the difference? Why do some girls pick and choose who they want to post?
Well, first, I'll tell you this. When it comes to pageantry, a lot of girls I've worked with were stolen by other people because they want to build their brand. You got what are called pageant pirates, and they still exist. You know that. Pageant, this is not a clean business all the time. But I don't say anything. There's a young lady that came back to me that went to another young person, whoever that was, that they had a situation, and I had to do emergency surgery to get them back in shape.
Wow.
I'll explain that as another corner of this conversation. You might want to make a note on that. But I'm not going to discuss it, but I'll tell you what I did. But privately, I just do my work. The word of God says, you shall know them by their fruit. You don't have to go and yell and stuff. I don't have fake numbers on my Instagram.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I only have I think 4,000 something people follow me. Luciera was the same way until, she blew up with the Philippines situation, because before as popular she was, her numbers are in the threes.
Yeah.
And in the hundred thousands, and people, I don't try to exaggerate, but I stayed humble and do what I do.
Yeah.
And I work with the young ladies, and really sincerely every day. If any of the girls, I don't know if any signing on, but that work with me, but I work with them. I stay with them. It's very called, not personal training. It's called very personal training. That way.
Process. It's a journey. It's a process that doesn't really end when the girl, the ultimate body. It's a process. So I definitely understand.
That's right. So my work is behind a lot of them. And a lot of times I just don't say anything. And I'm so busy working, I don't have the time to sit there. I'm gonna show you something real quick on my calendar. Let me flip the camera. I think this is how you flip it.
There you go.
That's how my camera, my calendar looks on a given month. And this and the white you see, that's a little bit, but look at that. That white you see is the time I have to myself.
Wow.
That,
Wow.
that's how it works. And I have a full-time assistant that works and book these appointments. That was insane. That was back in October 2021. And then we come into January, February. That's January, February, March. So I'm working around the clock. And so I don't have time to make my, build my brand. I always put something positive and tell people where they can get in touch with me at the end of my posting. But people get tired of seeing me post the same thing, so they ain't gonna like it if they see it.
Yeah. So let's redirect for a second. So I love what you just said in terms of and showing, your calendar and time that's actually mapped out just for you. So if you're talking to a girl and she's trying to get herself ready for a national competition, what is the advice you give her when it comes to balancing what fitness routine she needs to think of, her meal prepping with spending some time and dedicating mental time to get her mind right as much as she's pouring into getting her body right?
Well, when I first meet with the young ladies, the first part is goal setting. I'm learning from them. They don't know I'm picking up. Some of them are really into fitness. And to me, fitness is overrated. I'm a trainer. You say that. Well, I first get with their mind. I listen to them. I'm actually taking notes on their lifestyle. I don't find fault in what they do. I just listen. If some like to go to the gym it is. Some like to stay home. And sometimes I'm not a fit for them, but I'm honest with them. But if they need that for their mental stimulation, I don't try to change that. But fitness is overrated in the sense of this, obviously it's how you're thinking. People thought I was going to say food. No, it's how you're thinking. As a man thinketh, so is he. What are you thinking? How do you feel about yourself? Why do you feel that way? And, why is my hips too much? Or why is my this too much? Or why isn't it enough? Because that's been in their mind, dominating their defeat, causing the defeat to come because they're thinking a certain way. So my job is to get them to start thinking differently. And to get them to think differently, check this out. The brain works on numbers. If you're pounding this much, let's say this much data in your mind, this is the beginning here, right here, if you can see my finger, and this is all this, and the little bit of stuff you got about yourselves is good. My job and my heart is to constantly tell you can, you will, you are, you can, you will, it's for you, it's for you. And then we outnumber that. So that way, you'll start thinking this way instead of this way. Then we'll talk about food. Then we'll talk about movement. And when you put that all together, you know what it results in? Guess what it results in? It results in training 7 Miss USAs and 8 Miss Teen USAs, including this year, Brianna Miles.
Yeah. She looked in.
Right. And this year we had the first runner-up to Ellie, Caitlin Vogel, now married. She's married. And the year before, Asia Branch. And the year before, Chesley, even though Chesley was built like a brick house, we softened her up and get her curvy for Miss USA. The dearly departed Chesley. The year before, Kaylin Miller Keys, and on down the road. So the formula works.
Exactly.
The formula works. So some of the girls sometimes have strongholds in their head. I need to work this way, or I need to eat that. I just kind of vibe with them, just kind of see how this is me, and I try to get in there and match with them, not shock them, make them feel indifferent.
Yeah. Now, quick question. So you mentioned, several Miss USAs. You mentioned the current Teen USA. As you know, right now, they are there. Teens and Miss, they're getting ready to compete. Tell me, if you can just throw the number out there, how many teens and how many Miss do you have combined competing for Teen USA and Miss USA right now?
Line 76 between the teen and the Miss.
Wow.
And yeah, and I helped several win their state titles.
Wow.
Yeah, I worked with several, but I just stay quiet.
That's incredible. So take me through this. If I am
Wait a minute, I see my friend Lauren.
What'd you
Lawrence.
say?
I see Lawrence Hammond. Hey, Lawrence.
You see her?
No, him, Lawrence. That's my friend from
Lawrence,
Augusta.
I see Lawrence Shannon. I'm going to give him a wave so
Yeah,
he see him. So I just gave
yeah,
him a
yeah.
now. So tell me, as you know, when a young lady, she has won her state title. So she's won her state competition. And when you win the state competition, you have now a new team. You have your state director's team that's getting you ready. And if have you ever had a conflict whereas you kind of know based on this young lady's mind, the conversations you've had, looking at her body composition, you kind of have a different direction you want to go with her, but the team is saying something different. Have you ever had to work through those dynamics?
No, look, I'll share with you. This past year, Miss Oklahoma, I did not train her, but her first runner-up, Simone Thompson, was the first runner-up for the 2 years in a row that I worked with her. And unfortunately, Simone aged out. But when they win, if I help them win their state title, I respectfully yield them to the team that's there. If I'm not the sponsor, like I'm not the sponsor for Oklahoma, I tell the girls to listen to your directors, your parents and your directors, or whoever is on your team. Respect them, and I don't try to merge in. I yield to them. And my job is to help her win Miss Oklahoma. Now, all the directors respectfully got great teams already on board, like Kim Greenwood,
Yes,
my
absolutely.
my baby. All right. So if they got somebody already there, so what I do is I don't want to get in that. I actually yield to them respectively. That's the way you do it. Now, in many cases, I'm the sponsor. They inherit me. So if Simone had won, she would have been. I would have yielded her to the director of the Oklahoma State, the director for the state of Oklahoma. I wouldn't try to want to go any further. By the way, she won the swimsuit award,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the team Madeline won the activewear award in Oklahoma. In both cases, they were first runner-ups.
Yeah.
So,
And what do you do if a person comes to you and they work with you, you get them ready, they compete, and they're first runner up, and they're just like, what could I have done differently? Was my body not right? Did I not do everything I need to do? How do you help that young lady or that woman transition from not feeling as though she didn't do enough?
well, anytime when you come that close, you're going to have some essence of feeling defeated, and
Yeah.
it's going to be pain because that's a part of competition. You know, I'm a diehard SEC fan, and I'm a South Carolina Gamecock fan, and my buddy, of course, Bulldog, because we were in Augusta for years. But when you lose, you know, and when I say I don't like to call the term lose when you don't win.
Right.
That's when you don't win, you know you sign up for that. So there's going to be a process mentally, especially when you want it real bad. But usually, you could do the best you can do. It depends on the panel of judges and the energy that's delivered to them. Collectively, they pick who wins, and we have to yield to that. I've seen many cases where my jaws drop when a young lady who I thought had it in the bag, where it was handed over to the first runner-up. So, you know, it's part of the competition. So, and I respect the judge's opinion because we don't see the interview. We don't see what the judges are picking up. We see the stage performance, but we don't know how the girls are thinking that day and what energy they're serving. So I just kind of always am all right with it. Yeah, I'm not happy with what I'm saying. I like for all of my clients to win and knock it out the park,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
happy, you know. I encourage them and try to, empathize with them when they go through some challenges and get them to understand that this was something, a chapter in their lives, and they're not really a failure. Even a girl that don't place, you
Yeah.
know.
Absolutely. And I think, we sometimes forget that, our stories are already written. We're just living it out. And I know people get disappointed. So a question I want to know that I get asked all the time is when you're working with a personal trainer, what's the difference between working with a dietitian and a personal trainer, especially if you're someone who you may have either an eating disorder, or you may have like for instance, I have Crohn's disease, so that's definitely something that I have to watch my diet, watch what I eat. Like, how do you tailor it differently when it's someone that may have a chronic issue that they're facing?
Yes, in fact, I had one young lady that had an eating disorder that started with me, and we worked a month of just fitness. And she wanted to, I follow the girls' meals every day by option, it's not by demand. And the second month she wanted, she said, I'm open to it, but it triggered her mental, state of concerning food. So respectively, she moved on, and that was really important to her, and not to be offended, as so I want to address that first, and then I also am listening for that, when I'm interviewing them to not trigger them, not put pressure on these girls. I don't even give them a diet. I actually find out foods they like to eat, and I take some of the ratchet food and try to find a hack for it. Then I infuse
I
with,
love
yeah, I ate ratchet, you know, but I'm eating some grapes today.
that's fun.
So it just happened that day. I was just sitting there. But I help them, and my goal with their food and nutrition is try to keep their glycemic index balanced. Are you familiar with that? If
Yeah,
your body in surge with too much sugar or too much starch and carbs to the level that I don't have them counting macros. I don't have them counting calories. I just try to get them in a mead that they can live normal. And so, because on the personal training certification, they teach all this stuff. I just
yeah.
want where you feel that you're eating normal, where you can balance it. You can have some of the cheat days. You can have some of the healthy foods and mix, and then the ratchet food we can modify. Got a lot of ratchet.
I love how you say that, because
Yeah,
some
yeah, ratchet food is
food, it
good.
definitely tastes good, but you pay for it later on, so it is
Yeah,
a ratchet.
I, I recently lost 92 pounds just changing my mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do you change your recommendations and your prep style based on the age of the client as well as some of the other factors?
No, well, let me go back to the girls and their eating. I actually change the meals every 2 weeks. We when they get tired, the rules are, and I say rules or guidelines is, I sit down and interview them. I spend 2 hours in the first meeting going over food goals and measuring their body to see what we got to work, and then we go over the exercise. The food and the measurements we do to determine how the food and the activity is taking them. So when it goes to the food, first of all, I make sure I interview them. I find out the foods they like. Make sure that it's something they enjoy. They're not starving. If they're hungry, and I explain to them when they get in a little bit of an anxiety about that hunger pain comes on, the body's losing fat. So we got to have something, snacks, whatever. Some girls don't snack. You don't have to eat breakfast. Some people eat breakfast at breakfast people, some not. We don't force breakfast. Just let's start when you start, and just make it as normal and natural that she doesn't realize he's on a diet. Speaking of dietitian, Miss Tennessee USA Emily, my dearly loved in Tennessee, that's out in Reno now, and I'm not there, everybody, because I'm tired. Because my calendar is really intense. So Emily is a registered dietitian, and we had the best time. In fact, I'm training girls now while they're in Reno. In fact, I worked with Emily yesterday. So when she got there, she wanted to get. She's still working with me.
Yeah.
But anyway, with Emily being a registered dietitian, she knew what to do, but she still was open to the leaning process, because I've had a dietitian on my team in Raleigh, but I didn't need it because she was giving the girls healthy meals and they were staying real healthy, and I had to get them to shape up. So Emily, which I wish I could work with her, and she may win it, who knows? And all the other girls, I want all the girls I work with to do well. So I'm not pulling for Emily over anybody else, but I want them all to do well. But anyway, the point I'm saying, Emily is a registered dietitian. So I even said some girls to go look at her page, because she has good meals and healthy meals. And then I introduced some fatty acids to her. Fatty acids are on avocado oil, coconut oil, prospermol. Those are great oils, to have in your diet to help you lean out to use your fat. So we kind of did it like that. We always do this because we merge your information with mine, and then I help guide you through, move you to the point that you look like we want you to look.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm answering the question or not, but
You did actually, you actually, touch base on another topic I wanted to talk about. Walk us through a little bit, just with explaining what if a woman is already thin, so she's already pretty thin, and her body looks, to be proportioned, but she really still wants to lean out. So she wants to kind of get the midsection area a little bit flatter, and just like, a little bit of areas here to be a little bit more toned and defined. What would be a recommendation for someone who's looking to lean out a bit?
Okay, first things, there are three things you can do with the body. You can anabolize, metabolize, and catabolize. Anabolize is adding muscles to the body. Metabolize is maintaining and toning the body. Catabolizing is tearing down, which is hardly ever recommended because tearing down muscles. Some girls have one state winner about 6-7 years ago that was real built. I mean, she came in looking like for the pageant world. It's fine if you're doing bodybuilding or bikini or figure, but she was doing Miss USA, and I had to actually take away some of the protein to get her to start feeding into that muscle. That I mean, she was a mesomorph type body, and there are three types of body: mesomorph, endomorph, ectomorph. Meso is a naturally the kind of body we all wish we had, and an ecto is a slender person where they're really, and an endo is we generally consider somebody with a little bit more volume. You can be an endo with a lot of muscle and a lot of fat. We're usually associated with obesity. But anyway, so when I get with them and they want to answer your question, when they want to tone up and get a little bit more refined, and she's already there, well, what I do is feature some muscles. I work on those particular muscle groups, so that we can get them to be accentuated like you do makeup. I think I put all that stuff on. I accentuate the arms and the shoulders. We feature that. And then we do some other muscles to trigger that. Sometimes back pull downs for girls. It's not always recommended. Most of the time your back, if you're doing pageantry, is already okay. We'll tone it, we'll deal with it, but we're not going to have you just continue to get bigger. And, a wide back tends to be a gown's nightmare if you wear it in the back. So, yeah, but we just do that artistically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let me ask you this also. Have you ever worked with a client who has unrealistic goals, or do you think that that's even possible? Do you think that anyone can get to the body that they want to get to in the time frame they want to get to, as long as they're committed? Or do you have conversations where it needs to be a little bit more realistic in terms of the goal the person's trying to set for themselves and their body?
Well, when I outside of the pageant world, when I was training, especially in Augusta, that would come in all the time. Most of the pageant girls are pretty cool and understand some realistic, and a lot of them are already sharp and know what to do. But if that happens, I explain to them, and I'll give you a classic example. I trained a young lady, there are two of them I'm thinking about, one in North Carolina and one in New York, that their pelvis structure was just really wide, I mean, bone-wise. And try to lean that down is like I have to go inside the body and saw off the bones. And so there's a way to work with that, because we had, I think, and let me see, what year was this? When Chelsea Cooley won Miss USA back in 2005, 17 years ago, she made the top 10, and Miss Switzerland made the top 10, and she was a pretty girl, but she had a nice body, but her pelvis, she was wide pelvis, not hips and meat. It was sticking out. And the trainers, or whatever she did, I don't know who and how she did it, but whatever, when she was out there, it was just sticking out at you. And I said, man, they should not have tried to lean her down right there. Just really just work around that and build a little bit of meat around it.
Yeah, yeah.
That nice body, embrace it. You don't have to be skinny and I used to joke, no disrespect to the drug, but you don't have to look like crack. You want to have that hips nice and smoothed out. So her hips were sticking out, and so I really had to work with that to keep that from happening. I mean, I had some girls I had to work with, but Miss Switzerland was one example that she had. If you go back and look on YouTube, you can see what I mean when she came off the swimsuit. So when that happens, I just know what to do to kind of smooth it out, to keep the pelvis from protruding. That's what I do. And in fact, Miss Iceland that I worked with that was here in Charleston with me last week, uh, um, I had to, I'm smoothing out some things for her because she's already basically fit, but she needs some toning and some, you know, a little exaggeration to look good on stage at Miss Universe.
Yeah. So we just talked about fit. So if you have a client who is very fit, they've worked very hard to get very fit, and they look great. They literally don't have an ounce of fat on their body, but they may be appearing too fit or too toned or too hard. And how do you have that conversation to say, hey, I know you worked hard to get that body, but for the competition you're trying to win, let's soften you up a little bit. How does that conversation go?
I have the greatest example, and I do it with a little bit of tears. Chesley was one of those girls, Chesley, that took her life. Chesley was already built. I get credit for I don't deserve with her, but let me tell you how sweet she was. After the crowning, I knew I had to talk to her, and because I'm the sponsor, and she was already there. She was a D1 athlete at the University of South Carolina, body everywhere. But Chesley came out there looking so well, so put together. And so I talked to her after the pageant was done that night, and we were at the hotel in High Point, North Carolina, where Miss North Carolina is held. And I said, Chesley, I said, listen, out of due respect, I don't see what I can do for you, but would you be open to let me smooth you out a little bit? Let me show your shape and soften you up. She said, absolutely. I says, really? I said, Chesley, most trainers would be intimidated to come to a well-accomplished woman like you because the girl was together. The crowd,
Definitely.
her body was snatched, you know.
Yeah.
So, but what she let me do for her at Miss USA, if you go and look at her Miss USA swimsuit performance and go look at Miss Universe, you'll
Different.
see
The
different.
section, the torso was a little bit, it was definitely more toned, more muscular than her USA.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can't.
I
Well,
also attended the Miss Universe competition live. It was in Atlanta.
yeah,
That had really, really great seats, and that's one of the first things I noticed was that it was the midsection was a lot more toned and defined than the USA appearance.
right. Well, but the key was to get her soft and curved. You remember Miss Puerto Rico, the official scores for the Miss Universe scores is on YouTube for y'all, and it's real. All you
Yeah.
got to do is go to 2019 Miss Universe scoring, and they placed Chesley as number 7, and Puerto Rico was number 1. And by the U.S. market, she would be number 1. You follow me? All
Yeah.
right. At Miss USA, you see her hourglass figure. Now, here's some tips to some of the girls. If you come in too cut, remember it's a pageant,
Right.
and to go that cut. And if the judges, you want to judge it, you want the judges to look at all the way up here because the pageant is one here. So if you're overbuilt, if you're overbuilt and you do too much, it's gonna. You don't want the judges to concentrate on a carved 6-pack. You,
Yeah.
they miss all of this, and they only have 45 seconds to a minute to watch you. You remember Miss Universe? They came out and walked around the judges and stood there. Whoop, they were gone. And
Yeah.
so what happened? Chelsea actually carved in a little bit too much at Miss Universe. Remember, I was the sponsor to work with her to get ready to win Miss USA. That's my work. When she got to Miss Universe, I wasn't a sponsor for Miss Universe when Chesley was there. I was the sponsor for Asia Branch.
Her year.
That
Mm-hmm.
I trained Miss Iceland and Miss USA made the top 10. I
Yeah.
both. I work with Chesley for Miss USA, and I have Miss Iceland for Miss Universe. But anyway, getting back to the question, some of the girls I want my 6-pack and my abs, and I want my inner thighs. And who's going to look between your legs? They're freaky. Don't worry about your thigh. You're supposed to have some meat there and stuff. You know, if you got a gap, then somebody said, "Well, I can see your gap." That's a freaky judge. So
Right.
when I
Be looking at that because the pageants are definitely one from here up. And
right.
that first one's over, they should definitely be focusing back on you here, and that should be captivating the judge.
That's pageant and swimsuit is only just a segment. Once you get in the gown, forget about your body. You know,
Yeah.
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 and you're not going to be seeing too much in swimsuit once you win. So they and you know they're concentrating on this right here. So the key is to get them to do that. I mean, get them to look shapely. I do what the girls ask me to do the best I can to help them have confidence. So, but when they get a little bit too OCD and the details of the body, they're overrating and trying to get the button. They're thinking it and they're criticizing. The judges can't go, wait a minute, I think her butt was flat or big. I think the legs were inside. They're not able to see all of that
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, and it's all, and I think, and that's a really, really great point that you make, because sometimes it is all in our head. You know, sometimes our mirror tells us something different, you know, and that's why I'm experts like you
And
to
my brother.
just the realistic. Oh, I see Henry. I see him. Thank you for joining us, Henry.
Sorry about that. Just happened to see my brother.
Okay, no, that's okay. I saw. I was like,
yeah.
Related, but you know, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about you, and in terms of how you maintain yourself in this industry. You know, we do come from an industry where it is superficial. You know, everyone uses an app for something, whether it's to smoothen their face or they want to erase that little tummy, just, you know, whatever it is. You know, how do you maintain your faith, but then also work in an industry that is so superficial when it comes to appearances?
Okay, so to run your question one more time by me.
So how do you maintain your faith, your ethics, your work performance and professionalism in an industry that's so superficial?
Well, my job is to walk in love to people. My priority and my faith, I have no problem with. I study the Word of God daily. In fact, I'll show you something. I'm standing this phone. I'm going to flip the script here. I bought 2 Bibles here, and I have people that aren't Christians. I don't treat them bad. God, I'm loving with everybody. I have some people that are Muslim, that are clients. Some I don't know what their faith is. My job is to walk in love with them, be kind, be nice, be loving. That's how you manifest things to people. I don't walk around saying you got to believe what I believe. What my job is to do is to manifest that love of God and be kind, be loving, be patient, be understanding. Always be there to upgird them, you know. And my faith, Jesus Christ didn't go around saying, what church do you go to? Oh, from he said he heals. He didn't go, he just, all the thing he required is you believe that he could heal you. You got me. I don't need to know you don't need to know the Bible from Genesis 1:1 to Revelation 22:21. Like my job is to do. My job is to walk in love and be kind to people, be uplifting to them, and get them to believe. Because the best accessory, I think, Shamita Sinha, one of the former Miss University, said the best accessory you can wear is your confidence. So my job is to be that way and to teach them to be confident, to understand that they're worthy, understand that they're somebody, no matter who. I have some clients right now in New York that are from that are Muslim based. I have some out on the West Coast that are Muslim based, and I love them, and they're kind, and we're loving each other. So I don't have to push and shove you down scriptures to do that, but I can whip it out when you need it.
Right. And sometimes we do need it, you know? So if you are talking to an aspiring fitness coach and they want to get into the business, what is one advice that you would give them as they venture into becoming a fitness coach?
Okay, fitness. One of the things I would advise them is to get your ego in check. You know, don't come out with your you know, trying to exalt yourself. I've had attacks from many people that were jealous and envy. I had a young man that was after me like a dog getting ready to eat a steak, and I had to call him and see how I can endorse him and build him up and let him know it's okay. There's enough business out there for us. And, you know, and God is my sufficiency, not him, and nor am I for him. And to get him to let his work speak for him. You know, I said earlier, you shall know them by their fruit. Let your work speak for you. Just do your work and just keep doing it. And that'll do it. I don't go try to steal girls. I've had girls. There's a young lady that's competing tonight that another trainer bogart her way. I'm the sponsor, and the girl had to come back to me for an emergency stuff. So I won't say who that is, but that has happened many times. And I'm never jealous or envious of nobody. I'm pretty comfortable. That's why you don't see me posting any stuff or any energy. You've never seen me post about mad with somebody or expressing myself when someone attacked me. They attack me all the time. I mean, that's what the devil does.
I love it. You are preaching some amazing things. But we're gonna lighten it up a little bit. We're gonna play a quick little game.
Okay.
Game is called This or That. Now,
Sure.
I'm going to give you two choices, and you're going to tell me which one you prefer. So the game is this or that. So do you prefer to always be early, or are you always late?
Well, I call CPT time. Those are, I remember that club know what that means.
And here's our answer, guys.
Yeah.
Adventure or comfort?
Huh?
Adventure or comfort?
Comfort, because I'm old. When I was young, it would be adventure, but I want comfort.
To be good. Early bird or night owl?
Wow. Okay. I am actually both, but I'll go night because I work in 6 time zones. When I'm in Iceland or over in Great Britain or Finland, they're 5 hours. They're 5 hours later than me, and if I'm in Hawaii, they're 6 hours behind me.
So that time difference will definitely get you. Do you prefer store-bought items or homemade? And it can be food.
When it comes to food, homemade, and when it comes to anything else, I'll just go to the store.
So do you prefer to owe money or owe someone a favor?
Actually, neither.
I love that.
Yeah, neither. And I said neither. Remember, I said God is my sufficiency.
Yes.
So thank God that I honestly am not in debt. That's one thing. I live within my means. I was taught that by our ministry. I don't go and buy stuff. My eyes have never been greater than what I can live with. So I prefer to owe somebody a favor if I had to break it down. I'd rather owe you a favor than. Okay.
I agree. Are you a coffee drinker or tea drinker?
Oh man, I used to be. I never was a coffee drinker, so definitely would be tea. But since I lost all this weight. In fact, if you see my neck, I had surgery right here. I had C4 and 5. I had spinal surgery right here. So when I lost the weight, I thought this was old man sag, but it's the mass story where they cut right here. So I thought I lost the weight, and then I said, wait a minute, I got this old people stuff. I got to get surgery. So if it disappeared, Angelo has surgery, but it's actually going away. But so I prefer to not do either one now. So that's why I mentioned that, because I lost so much weight, but it's actually drying up. So I would go to tea if I had to pick a choice.
Okay. I'm a tea drinker myself.
Yeah.
To be embarrassed or be afraid?
Say it again.
To be embarrassed or be afraid?
I've always been embarrassed. So I'd rather be embarrassed because I'm an overcomer. People say stuff and think stuff, and I just stay fast, steady. People are trying to figure me out, trying to guess this. I just stay steady. Like I said, I just go by what I know God tell me I can do. So I would do. I'd rather be embarrassed than be afraid.
Are you more of a city person or countryside?
City. Yeah, because my brother, if he's still on here, we were raised in the city. Me and my brother, when we went in the country, we were small. We were astonished that we didn't see any sidewalks. I said, "What the hell? These people, there's no sidewalks." And so,
like, wait a minute, what's happening here?
Yeah, if you go to the country, you got to go walk in the woods. There's just snakes and crap.
Or consider yourself more of a road trip person or a plane ride?
I have transitioned from road person as I age. I flew to Ohio just a few weeks ago, and I was going to fly to Reno if I wasn't so tired. And I'm going to fly to Miss Universe in New Orleans. So I'm a plane person.
Yeah, I like a good road trip too, but I can do the plane. Are you more East Coast or West Coast?
Oh, man.
These questions are tough.
No, not a bad. You see what it is? I'm wanting to go to the West. When I was out there, I had a good time. It's a different paradigm shift, where I flipped. So, but I love all my folks here in here, but I would say I'm gonna stay east. I'm gonna stay east because I would want to come back.
Okay, well, East Coast it is. Show or tell? Do you like to show people things, or you're more expressive with telling them things?
I like to show.
You're a
Yeah.
fit person, so yeah, I can see that. Using knowledge or your imagination?
Uh, no, you make me think of young men should dream dreams and the old man should have visions. And so I would like say that one more time.
Knowledge. So do you go and are you fueled by the knowledge you have, or are you open to endless possibilities by using your imagination?
Knowledge.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, you're a fitness person, so definitely your knowledge in the business comes into play.
Yeah.
I plan things out, or are you more spontaneous?
I kind of I'm really OCD in details. You saw my thing,
So
but
I
yeah, but I seem spontaneous because I don't let people know how detailed I am. That's why the girls are totally put together. When I have them moving, I move certain muscle group to trigger another. When they think I'm doing something, they come out looking perfect.
they're like,
But see, all over the place when if they had to describe, say, well, we did a little bit of that, and she's feeling this way. I know what she told me in the beginning. That's what my job is to do. So I do it. That's why I draw it out, and I'm locked in on that.
yeah, absolutely. So are you more into phone call or text? I think I know the answer, but are you more into phone call or are you into texting?
If it wasn't for where my calendar would be, I'm not a texter, by the way. I'd rather talk to you and get it done. Even I'll voice it because texting, I'm old, so I'm going pick, and and can. I'm not a texter, but I would rather talk. But because of my schedule, I have to sometimes text, but I'd rather talk to you.
Yeah. I picked up on that. I picked up on that you would definitely be that person. So
Yes.
where to go? So we're almost done. Are you someone who you like to test the waters or you dive right into the deep end?
Oh man, what a good question. One of my mentors is Dr. Tom Paine, and in Gunnersville, Alabama, and he still is my mentor. And he's made my life so much better outside of people in our ministry. But Tom is a great man of God. But he taught me life principles, and I've known him too many a few decades. So, um, uh, what is that?
Hmm?
Hold on, just a minute. That's
Okay,
my phone. Just a moment.
no problem.
Okay, I'm back. I had the house phone off the hook, and it was doing something weird. All right, so I've run the question one more time by me.
So are you someone who you like to test the waters or do you like to just dive into the deep end?
All right, so Tom Payne, I was in this, still in this business, the nutritionist stuff, and it was a multi-level thing. And we won a trip to go to Gunnersville, and he took us on a pontoon boat. And and Gunnersville is up in the northern part of Alabama. But however, he spoofed us about gators in the water. And the water's dark, black, and carp, that fish they're learning to try to eat because it's taking over. Well, anyway, challenged us to dive into the water. And it was about five couples. And and I knew he wouldn't have me to dive in to be dangerous when gators in there. And you couldn't see the water black, and I could swim real well. So he told us and he challenged us. Everybody was spoofed out on the story. So I just dived right in. They screamed, Angelo, oh my God. They threw back and they threw it back in because I could swim. And there was none up there, by the way. The climate was too high for gators. Gators were cut off in the southern part of Alabama. But anyway, I would dive right in. I don't have a lot of fear. I'm pretty bodacious.
I love that. So our last and final this or that question is, are you a glass half full or glass half empty person?
I use that example all the time. I'm definitely a glass half full. Possible thinking, because you got to watch where your direction, your thoughts. And I'm not saying that to impress people that are listening. I believe in moving forward. And, that's why when you ask about embarrassment, I've had plenty of things people have said or have been embarrassed about things I did, but I constantly move forward. That's how you produce fruit. A tree weathers the storm. You'll see trees that were branches broken off, and you see apple trees crooked, still producing fruit. So I just move forward. Yeah, that's how I've done well in this business. I do it well, and I own it, and I speak life into me. I really do. I speak life into myself because I mean, I'm not gonna wait for nobody else. I renew my mind. If you don't mind, Romans 12:2 says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may be able to prove that perfect and excellent will of God." So I just speak life into me. I love Angelo and think well of him. I've looked bad and been beat down, and now I got a snatched body now. So I posted it a couple of times, but I didn't always feel that way and look that way. But inside the man in me, what was determining what I am today.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you said, you love Angelo. And I think that is a great way, a great note for us to end on. I absolutely love that. So before we wrap things up, do you have anything that you want to say, any last advice you'd like to give to anyone that's listening, who may either be looking for that perfect trainer or just having that doubt? Any last words for our audience before we end today's interview?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to tell everybody that's listening to speak life. And I said this not as a cliche, really speak some life. Write down 10 good things about yourself and write them down. I had to do that to make it through some dark times. I've gone through some stories that could be told that you would be surprised. And, it's not to be public, but I can tell stories that I've gone through and going through. But I had to keep speaking it over and over. And I suggest you write 10 good things down, literally write it down. Take an pen and write down 10 good things about yourself. And you'll be surprised. You have to stop and think hard. But if you start writing good things about yourself, write it down and read it every day. You don't have to go and have it in front of your eyes. Because if your eyes see the 10 things, even though you consciously didn't read it, your subconscious mind picks it up. So that's how the devil penetrates your mind, by fear, because you pick up a lot of negative data that you don't consciously realize that gone into.
It's feeding into you. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yes. So write down 10 good things about yourself. Write it down and read it every day. And I do that every day. I write it down, and I mean, it's already written down, and then upgrade it every once a month. Sometimes you may master something so well that you discover another point good about yourself. Then write that down. If you don't, the subconscious mind picking up all the worldly information will come and it'll start modifying you. You develop fear, doubt, worry, anger, and all these ugly manifestations. And I have gone that way at times when I didn't renew my mind. So you want to write it down. Write down 10 good things about yourself. And that way you feed into yourself. And then if you don't, your viewpoint will be skewed on how you see the world. You'll think I harm you, someone else harm you. You develop things, unfruitful works of the spirit, according to Galatians chapter 5, verse 19 and 20 and 21. And the fruit of the spirit is verse 22, 5:22. So you speak life into yourself. And it's important, whether you're religious or not. Write down 10 good things. And I really encourage you to do that, because that will give you that invigoration. That will pick you up. I've got a son, nobody knows this, but my brother knows, and those that know me, my youngest son is 47 years old.
Oh my God. Wow.
Salisbury's name is Antoine, and he's not on here. But I'm older, but I speak life into me. So God is changing me. I'm getting younger because I feel better. I think better. And I had to do what I'm telling you. I'm not a young puppy. I like to think that. I mean, I like to, if I can go back to my 20s and 30s, but I already gone through those processes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all I got to do, the Bible said, this is the day the Lord has made. So let us rejoice and be glad in it. And rejoice is an inside job. You might not be glad on the outside, but what I use the word, you better be thinking right on the inside.
Absolutely. you're not rejoicing here, it's going to manifest into anything that you touch, anything that you do. And more importantly, I think, we've learned so much from you today, and you gave such great information when it came to fitness, and really showed us your knowledge, not just of simply getting people fit, but just your knowledge of the body and what's needed. I want to thank you so much for really pouring life into us today, because I think we all came for a good lesson in fitness, but we also got some mental fitness. So I want to thank you and thank everyone for joining us today. Once again, I had a fantastic conversation. I felt like I was talking to an old friend, and I had a great conversation with the one, the only Angelo Frasier. Angelo, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to connecting with you and you further as we have other projects and other interviews coming up with you. So I'm so excited and I can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, let me say this last thing. One thing. If anybody needs to reach out to me for any other reason, our consultations are free. We block out 2 hours. We don't charge anybody for that. But even for just uplifting, a consultation don't have to be, you got to come to me. My prices are not cheap and they're not expensive. So we earn what we do. But this not to produce just business, but I would be glad to do anything to bless somebody, just in any way that I possibly can. So I want to with that.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, you're definitely amazing at what you do, but just the impact that you make on every young lady, every young man that comes to you for just getting their bodies together and living a better, healthier lifestyle. You definitely do a fantastic job. And I look forward to continuing to work with you in different projects, as well as referring some of my pageant girls to you, because I definitely know that you can work wonders when it comes to the mental way that they think and the physical way that they are. So thank you so much once again, Angelo, and thank you guys, everyone, for joining us today. And I will see you soon.
All right, you're the best. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Love you.